late game potential, allows for easy sieging and taking down towers without having to worry about too much punishment. And I'm just overall happy to see the hero in play. I'm a big fan of it myself, and Fantastic Five have obviously played it a lot in the past. It's been respect banned. They're finally going to get it here, and I got a front row seat. And for Na'Vi, another go-to Sand King pickup for them and Sonico. Can't really fault the guy too much. He seems to be making a lot of plays and a lot of setup for him, and just seems to be the Na'Vi way in this meta right here and now. So second phase, though, doesn't go without saying they got to remove the icky, sticky Broodmother. They get rid of the Quap. Fantastic Five rid of the Spectre. Lycan. They pick up a Bane, and now Na'Vi can't grab up the Ember Spirit. So Ember Invoker core duo already.
Yeah, and Ditchera is pretty good at Ember Spirits. It's always a talking point for me because it's a hero that he like lost confidence on for a while and then became his main hero again after it. And I don't know if you might have been the one casting it. So I can't remember who was casting. I think it was actually OD Pixel casting the Star Ladder series where Na'Vi beats OG. I think it was a Star Ladder series, and Ditchera played Ember Spirits in that series, and there was a Slighted Fist that actually killed 4 heroes in one go. There's a clip of it up on YouTube. It's got many views. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. So he definitely knows how to win the late game with that hero. Although that said, yesterday his Ember Spirit took a really long time to win the game against Mega Squadron. They had Mega Creeps. Mega Squadron survived with Mega after being Mega for 20 minutes against Ditchera's Ember Spirit.
Oh, wow.
So maybe not hoping it'll go that late. Maybe more just hoping that this is a hero that's going to interact early on, fights early on, and then once you kind of turn that corner, just secure the late game.
It's going to be interesting to see the late game already between these two with the Lone Druid. It's kind of one of those things you just don't get to see very often, and we know Lone Druid, it's like, well, technically he's got 12 slots to work with, 14 even with Moon Shards. I love and hate those long kind of games, but in this one particular, seeing Titans like Ember and Lone Druid go toe-to-toe is not something we get to see very often, and I anticipate Ember is going to be the one who favors the most with a lot of the mobility he brings to the table. Last band's coming out. They rid of the Nyx Assassin on the side of Na'Vi. Rid of the Earthshaker here for Fantastic Five. This comes after, of course, they get the grab on the Lina. Even if it's a support Lina, let's say, which I don't know yet if it's going to be the mid lane grab or, if it's a BZZ go-to or not. But regardless, picking up a Yules at some point could help in the sense of, crazy initiation from Sand King, or getting rid of the Flame Guard on an Ember Spirit could be useful in its own right.
5 seconds remaining.
But we look to the final pickup now for Na'Vi. And we'll see what they get.
Yeah, it does look like a mid laner, and Na'Vi seems to think so. That's why they ban out the Nyx, and certainly from the previous game where Yul support laner was pretty underwhelming, I want to say. I mean, a big part of that loss had to do with Na'Vi's draft, but if there's anything you can criticize about Fantastic Five's play, it's their support laner tried to roam around the map alone, got caught out many times, and actually fed the momentum of what Na'Vi wanted. So I'd be a little bit surprised if they go for that same support laner again. Na'Vi actually finished the offlane spread breaker for Axima.
Alright, so this is pretty aggressive, helps create the space. You see a mid-game Invoker and Spirit Breaker going on a tirade with the setup from Sand King, and that should get the job done here. This is going to keep Fantastic Fives really on their toes, specifically the Oracle here, if there's going to be a lot of pressure coming their way.
10 seconds.
I'm curious what they're going to be looking to do here to kind of respond to that. We're anticipating the offlane grab, I wager, and it's going to be an LC. Could help purge off all that pesky stun. But on top of that, what do you think? Legion Commander grab, don't see it very often. Did receive some buffs and some extra love. Certain Agnems was kind of, given some extra love for the hero, but aside from countering Broodmothers, we just don't see it very often.
It's pretty good at scaring Ember Spirits when they're trying to split push, because if you've got Blink and Blade Mail, if you get the duel off, that's pretty much always a solo kill on Ember Spirits. So I think that's quite a nice situation to have. It's also nice if they do want to assemble a push with the Oracles healing and sustain and the Bears pushing power. It's nice to have the Legion as a threat. And coupled with the Lina, it's a lot people always talk about Legion Skyreth, but there's no difference to have Legion Lina. You commit both ultis, that person's going to die.
10 seconds remaining.
It's also quite nice that Legion can take off Ember's chains with the press the attack. So that could be maybe one other small consideration there. And you can also press the attack on the Spirit Bear when you're pushing, just to give it that extra attack speed.
This will be a fun one for
Prepare
sure.
for
I'm very
battle.
anxious to see as we get underway. It's game number 3 of the grand final for BTS Europe. Fantastic 5 on the Radiant side, going to be going up against the mighty Na'Vi on the Dire. For anyone just kind of tuning in, you know, Precious Dendi is indeed not here in attendance to play. Not too sure exactly why he's not here, but we do have the stand-in Shadow, who is going to be representing the Invoker for this particular matchup. Has been, you know, kind of playing under the radar a bit, but has kind of stepped up when necessary. You know, hasn't been a standout player, but the job has been kind of filled, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was noticeable at all in the first game. He did Zeus things as Zeus and occasionally got caught out. In the second game, I want to say, especially toward the end of the game, he was pretty amazing. Like,
Yeah.
right at the end, that last fight, Orchid one heroed and EMP Tornado the other 4. So, and then he found time to put down all his items and destroy them before the throne exploded. So, maybe Invoker is like one of his favorite heroes. So, I mean, honestly, if you're a mid player right now in this patch, Invoker probably just is your favorite hero by default. It's certainly the pub meta.
Yeah, and I imagine for a lot of mid players, he seems to be like, once you figure him out, he seems to be a pretty damn fun hero to to play with and do well with. So they are going to get some early harassment onto the Bear here. Spirit Breaker is going to be snagging up the rune, but the mighty Bear at level 1 is just a bit too beefy for them. So they'll walk away happy with the rune. In the meantime, we'll get kind of a bit of a blockage here coming out from Yol and what will start to be the wonderful possible dual lane matchup, or not. It's going to be Invoker on his own. Lena's going to get the help from Yol here and force Shadow kind of back, because Soniko doesn't want any part of this. He's going to turn his attention towards the top lane, where it's going to be a dual off lane here. Scant Oracle going to be helping the Legion commander.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty neat little combination, I think. I mean, I've seen in the past Dazzle and Legion. I've seen Wisp and Legion. The sustain heroes that try and keep you alive are actually very nice to have with Legion, and Legion can keep them alive too, as we've just seen. The press the attack, like, just to dispel. But yeah, even just like as the Legion scales a bit further, like once you start dueling people, having that like short nuke damage, the Purifying Flames out of the Oracle could be nice to combine.
Yep.
And making sure you can't lose the duel with the ulti.
It's good for the Oracle as well, because, you know, you get to split the XP just between one other person, and Oracle, as we know, is a hero who needs the levels. If he's able to kind of quickly get this Purifying Flames up to level 2, they can start even denying the lane that much easier. Even now, gets a nice little pull off here. Not going to be really contested by Artstyle, who just is working on a pull of his own, but this will now possibly turn into an advanced pull here for Na'Vi with an extra range creep, and, you know, Fantastic 5 having a good control on the lake, the creep equilibrium. But nearby, Yol kind of up in arms with Soniko, forces out the Brain Sap. Soniko will just kind of turn away from this one.
Yeah. Oracle's also got a disarm, but I don't know, like, you know, you could say, oh, it's a combo to like duel someone, disarm them, but it isn't really, because the duel wants to get damage out of Moments of Courage, so you want them to attack you.
Yeah, that's true. He's going to be using a lot of Fate's Edict while in a duel. So Nico, stun up onto Yol here. Yol is charged right now. But BZZ steps in. EMP with the Cold Snap's going to rid of a lot of that mana. So Nico barely alive. They got the right click in. BZZ's going to pick up that one even from the low ground. Yol, though, they're looking for a response. Tornado will get the catch, but he eats a Fairy Fire, and they walk on out of there. And it's just going to be a kill for Fantastic 5. A follow-up charge towards the top lane. They get the quick snipe right there. We see it from the Purifying Flames. A follow-up bash onto the Oracle. There's the Burrow, and there's going to be the kill for Na'Vi. They reached hard for that one, but they're going to get the supports they want.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big rotation, and we sort of at the point, okay, Artstyle moves to the bot lane to get some experience while the Spirit Breaker's not there. But I think the Lone Druid is nearly at the point, like usually when you hit level 5 in Lone Druid, heroes just can't solo against it anymore, even for XP. You'll start seeing the Lone Druid like attempting dives or putting a lot of pressure on those heroes, and the Lone Druid certainly is not going to be shut down. If you look at the last hits, the Lone Druid and the Lino are actually substantially ahead of all the other heroes.
Yep.
So yeah, Na'Vi get that like one kill, but I do feel like it's advantage Fantastic 5 very definitely still.
Yeah, they're not able to kind of build up a lot into these lanes to really offer a lot of pressure. And Lone Druid with no pressure allows for super easy laning stage for him. Mid lane, Yol, how you doing? Sets up the sleep. BZZ's going to step in. They get the stun. They have the nuke. They got the kill. Shadow's going to be going down here. Fantastic 5, though. Going to be charged up. I anticipate as he bottles up here. Oh! Not going to have the mana quite yet. Now has enough for the stun, and it looks like he might not be able to get it off. Does get it off on the 2. Heads up to the high ground to make it away. Has the move speed. He's going to be good. Yolna, meanwhile, just starts poking at him a bit, and that is all she wrote. Na'Vi not going to be able to get the response.
Wish fulfilled.
Well, what do you think happens later on in the game if Legion starts dueling someone and then Syllabi uses the roar to tell them to run away? Like, they presumably the duel just like overrides and they have to fight.
I would assume so. That's an interesting reaction.
Maybe there's actually a charge onto Bane in the mid lane and a tornado, so I don't know who's going on who. It looks like Sonico.
Yeah, they find the better target there, taking out the Lina, and now Yol, man on the run, the courier, better make it out as well. Heads down south, art style. Not gonna go for it. Yol will rendezvous with Sadoy. Sadoy intercepts a bit. Shapeshift here to muscle up, and quickly is like, Yol, what the hell have you done? You brought trouble. Way too much trouble for me. Oh, okay, here we go. Now they get the nice block with the bear, plus the help coming out from Oracle, locking him down a bit, and Sadoy will be able to make a getaway there. But it was a bit nerve-wracking for him. Na'Vi in a long, long pursuit, but will not grab the extra kill.
Yeah, I think the Savage Roar saved his life there. I think maybe a skill that people aren't used to playing against that much yet, because the AoE is quite small, and while you're chasing the bear, if you don't go that close to him, it's quite difficult for him to do. At the same time, he could just use the Spirit Bear to roar you away, and that actually made me think, like, so I'm asking about the dual roar interaction, but maybe the plan is actually dual one person, and you like plonk the Spirit Bear between him and everyone else and just like roar at them, kind of like nothing to see, move along.
Plus you have the Oracle waiting there with the false promise, means a duel that is very likely to win, even when you feel like the health odds are not in your favor. So that is, I mean, I wonder if they're that elaborate to pull off a acrobatic act all around this duel. I mean, it'd be a sight to see.
They've certainly got tools to make good value on the duel once they get there. I guess it's going to be mostly about the Legion commander getting a well-timed blink, but at the moment, in terms of CS, especially for an off-lane Legion, doing pretty well, and it's quite interesting. We didn't actually talk about these 2 observer wards. I guess this is just because the first ward's going to be running out at the top lane, the Na'Vi ward, so they just placed a new one to replace it.
Now, it seems like they have their attention themselves on this LC. A casual charge in from the Spirit Breaker, but obviously a bit too deep for any sort of follow-up. Just kind of letting them know that their presence is here. For the Fantastic 5, though, mid lane, they're going to smoke up. They're going to go on the move. Their support's still kind of lacking in the level department. Level 3 between both Oracle and Bane. Oracle putting 2 points into his Purifying Flames. More, of course, into the nuke here. Sunico close. They get the sleep. Fortune's End. They'll have the burst with that Purifying Flames, and that's going to secure them a kill. Just them appropriate timing, knowing when to smoke, knowing when Sonico's off the map, and when he's probably doing stacks and looking to go for a Blink Dagger, and that's all it takes.
And they dropped a ward as well, so next time he's farming, they might be able to go for him again. And honestly, we saw the difference. Yesterday we saw an insane performance out of Sonico, so well, that's actually Lena getting caught by the tornado, and maybe the cold feet can proc now. Yeah, frozen up, and Card should finish it off.
Evoker grabs up that one, but it's a successful pick onto the Lena, and now they look for Oracle here. They got the cold feet, they got the burrow. Sleep? Not going to be enough. Fantastic 5 will lose 2 all day from Na'Vi. And with this, we'll be able to kind of step back with a little bit of winnings for themselves. Legion Commander, all the meanwhile, does get to a level 6. Duel is online here, and I'm sure they're going to want to start building up all that extra bit of bonus damage. And then you have Sadoy in the bottom lane, building it up. And yeah, with Lena in hand, this might be all they need. Charge, though, from the opposite side. Got to be canceled up, and oh, nothing will come out of it.
It's that ward. It's that Na'Vi ward. I mean, they see the Lena TP in, and so they know. Because if they hadn't seen Lena coming in, they'd very happily get themselves dueled, just fight 2v1. Lena ends up making the kill. But a very important ward doing very important work early on in the game.
And for Sadoy in the bottom lane, although meanwhile, who's not big on participating in some of these fights, except only sporting one little kill. 46 and 7, highest CS in the game for him. He went right to phase, of course, onto his bear. It looks like with gloves in hand, I assume Midas is in order, and we'll see if he just kind of goes any sort of traditional cookie cutter, if you will, lone druid buildup of a Radiance, let's say, or has something else in mind here. I haven't personally seen a lot of Sadoy lone druids. I'm getting anxious, though.
Yeah, I would guess it'll be pretty standard Midas into Radiance, and if he hits a good timing on the Radiance, just like team assembles and goes for it. There's a charge into the Oracle in the mid lane. Oracle's got no mana, so this is actually probably just a kill with the Nether Strike.
Responsive rotations here. Legion Commander thirsty for her first bits of bonus damage. Will it be here on the Spirit Breaker? It looks like it will. They're going to get the sleep, the stun. They're going to probably time out the duel. And they'll have certainly enough burst. And 10 damage will be awarded to the LC.
Yeah, and that's important. The early duels are actually quite important just because it gives you a little bit of an advantage once you get the Blink Dagger to win the next set of duels. I feel like the key part of the game for Legion is usually between buying Blink and buying Blade Mail. If you can get from the Blink to the Blade Mail really quickly, you usually snowball quite hard, whereas if you get the Blink and then you're like not able to get any kills and kind of stall off a bit because you can't take space of the map, that can be a problem and the Blade Mail comes too late. So early damage going to help with those, the early Blink Dagger duels once the Blink is up.
Yeah. They're looking for Sadoy, bottom lane. He had done already a deep play trying to farm up. He's going to get the Fate's Edict here. Gets a bit of heal. Step in, quick nuke damage, quickly taken off with the Fortune's End. A lot of damage on AA, a secondary nuke, and that's the kill. That root tick and the hefty double burst coming out from the Oracle, and the fragile AA will be taken down. And that is very good. Sadoy, I thought he was actually going to be in a bit of trouble there, but Oracle to the rescue.
It is something about Oracle that I've noticed the most. A lot of players not used to, like, just used to the high damage outputs of the hero, even at the low levels. Yeah, so you just surprise people because they're like, this is a low level support, like, what's it going to do to me? And then all of a sudden you just, all your HP's gone.
I mean, you can almost just guarantee it's going to be the trifecta between leading in with the Purifying Flames, then whatever damage you got Fortune's End with the secondary Purifying Flames. You're looking at 2 quick instant 360. Top lane, though. Burrow strike in for Yol, the Bane. Gets the self-sleep off, but he will be going down. The rotation from Sadoy. Ember's going to be forced to retreat, so Nico goes for a TP. Is going to be able to make it out. Actmo, he's gone too. All of Na'Vi going to be making it out safe, forcing out all these rotations after the successful Bane takedown. That's a win for Na'Vi, and they'll get a little bit of a purse for it.
Yeah, and we haven't talked that much about Ditchera this game, but he's been quietly farming up. I'm wondering if he's going to go into the Boots of Travel. Possibly would have picked them up right now if the courier hadn't gone down. But with the courier going down, I wonder maybe even that affects his decision. Well, this is a charge in from Maximo, and there's actually an Ice Blast.
Still not taking the damage, getting healed up here. They look to turn back, but now a step in from Ditya. He's going to get the slight that chains the kill on the Lina. Now Burrow following up from Soniko here. LC still moving in, trying to get a dual target if possible, but they're focusing on the Oracle. Who's going to go down? Duel is out on his Soniko here, but the duel will conclude. No points awarded, and LC will end up going down. Ditya now in a move. Wants the bounty of the bear. Shadow sweeps in, Tornado of off. They change their targets on for Yol. It's a triple kill for the Spirit Breaker, a full team wipe. Na'Vi just opened this mid-game wide open for themselves.
Yeah, all of a sudden looking really good. I mean, the early game certainly looked to be favoring Fantastic Five, but Na'Vi had like a small skirmish that looked advantageous, and now a very big fight that looks completely there in their favor, and that's yeah, that's a huge jump. It's a huge jump if we look at the graphs. The one thing is that the Lone Druid's still right at the top, but he's actually picked up I don't know if he's a Mithril Hammer on his hero, so not looking like we're going to see actually a Radiance rush in this game. In fact, looking much more like a Maelstrom, maybe not even finishing the Midas.
Yeah, the Maelstrom is, I guess, just more for farming up. Not a lot of, like, an extra outspam, I suppose, but Not necessary to clear out any sort of ridiculous illusions or creeps, but we'll see. It's a Sidoi Lone Druid.
It's an earlier fighting build. I mean, you can still farm with the Maelstrom, but it allows you to get active a lot earlier on. Like, there was this... Back when AUI still used to play carry, Lone Druid was one of his heroes, and Maelstrom was one of the items that he popularized, and at that stage it became, like, almost the norm. It, like, completely ousted the Radiance build because of how quickly you could go online with it, and I think that's really the point here. They want to go online early. They don't want to have this Lone Druid just quietly farming while Navi's heroes are, like, in their face.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, plus you get the potential of building into the Mjolnir, where it's obviously going to be very useful on the bear itself. Mid lane, Tornado, Ice Blast going to be a bit of a swing and a miss here. They still moving with a charge, but Aximal going to get caught out with the stun. Nuke damage is going to get him down. Sphere Breaker going to be the first casualty of this one. Bit of an overextension and good kind of sense right there from the Fantastic Five. They step back, spread, and position themselves in a way where they avoid the Na'Vi initial burst, and now they're going to be possibly rewarded with a quick takedown of a tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Unless Na'Vi want to respond, Shadow's around, he's thinking about it. Fearsome 5 a bit hesitant here.
He's got the EMP and the Tornado, so should be able to stall a bit, but that's actually a nightmare on Artstyle to start things off.
Uh-oh, Soniko though pockets up a big epi, gets the double burrow. Bane's going to be going down. They get the Tornado EMP right on Sadoi's head. He's going to get the false promise here, or sorry, yeah, the heal up from Oracle, and he's good. Soniko tries to make chase, but doesn't have the mana. Meanwhile, they are going to get the bounty of the bear, but the prized Sidoi Lone Druid will be able to make it out unscathed. Bane the only casualty in that one for the side of Fantastic Five. Na'Vi lose their AA, and, well, that could have gone a lot worse for the Radiant, but they do manage to, you know, get themselves out.
Yeah, a small glimpse of what Soniko might have to offer, and I think that Fantastic Five will maybe respect the Sand King's positioning a bit more from now on. If they can't see him, expect that he's around, might be blinking in. I mean, if Artstar had gotten his Ice Blast off before he died, then I think Na'Vi kill a lot more heroes.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Oh, Artstyle moving in. I don't know how aggressive he plans on going with this ward, but he at least has scouted out an opportunity to make it go, and oh, that's an Ice Blast. Yol with the last breath of his life gets off a Fiend's Grip setup, and it's end up going to be a 1-for-1 drop. Or, I mean, actually making it 2-for-1 as the AA did end up going down, so I don't know. Overambitious right there to get a ward set up. They thought they had the easy pick on the Bane, and just a quick turnaround there for Fantastic Five. Orchid almost complete now for Shadow.
At the same time, space is being made for Ghost Stick on the Legion, who's getting very, very close to his Blink Dagger. As Oracle does go down in the mid lane, and that should complete the Orchid for Shadow. So these are like the two timings. There's the Blink on the Legion and the Orchid on the Invoker, and both of them threaten solo pickoffs, or certainly 2 hero pickoffs.
Yeah.
And that's now, for both teams, it's going to be a lot more dangerous for the squishier heroes to be alone on the map.
As we switch over to net worth now, you can see between the cores, the Lone Druid all the way off to kind of a hot start here. But as I say that, he's now the one under pressure and going to be going down. Good catch there. Will allow them to kind of lock him down in place. Lone Druid goes out.
I think that's...
Yeah.
That interaction's a little bit broken to me because I don't know if you saw Sidoi tried to use his Roar to stop the Spirit Breaker's charge and just carried on going. And I mean, Spirit Breaker is not invulnerable during charge. You can cast spells on him, so I sort of feel like should actually chase him back.
Oh, well, he gets off the false promise, but unless he has a crap ton of heal, he will go down nonetheless. Gets off what he can before he does drop. BZZ, though, will be the next one on target here for Na'Vi. So with them two going down and taking down Sidoi, 3 off the map, Na'Vi push on forward, going to be securing a tier 1 for themselves. Making Diggy Raw all that much more happy as he is getting closer and closer now to the early Battle Fury pickup after rushing down the Boots of Travel. He is pretty loaded at this point, and still ahead of him is this Shadow Invoker. With Orchid now complete, Na'Vi can kind of control the map here as much as they want, unless Fantastic Five can just find a way now to make use of this Blink Dagger LC. Still only sporting 10 bonus damage. They're going to smoke up and try to change that.
Yeah, needs the teammates, I think, to guarantee some kills, and if he can get the blade mail very quickly, like Legion, she's a hero that honestly, I think if the blade mail timing was close to the Ember's battle free time, the Ember just can't farm alone because Legion's gonna solo kill over and over and over once the blade mail's up. So pretty vital actually, because I don't think there are other tools available to Fantastic Five to control the Ember Spirit.
Oh, they just missed an opportunity against Sonico. He makes it out. Still too far. Sandstorm, he still has a burrow. He has a blink. No TP, though. They might know that. They don't want to bother with him, though. Charge.
He's going to come back in, maybe.
Yeah, they're going to go for Yol, possibly. There is a TP in from BZZ, who gets hit from the Ice Blast. Meanwhile, they're going to make a go for that Spirit Breaker. They caught him out. They got the duel, they got the kill, they got the points. Tornado comes in from this Invoker to kind of disrupt a bit, but he quickly and hastily will make his retreat.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So that's a welcome sign for this Legion commander. Gets a little bit closer to picking up that blade mail, especially with Lina, who had to go back for the drum before getting the Yules. So Lina a bit delayed in terms of pick-off capabilities. And it puts, I mean, I do think until they get the Yules and the Lina and probably the blade mail and the Legion, there's a
fancy footwork from Sonico in the bottom lane, but eventually he gets caught out with a Laguna. Now they turn back. Shadow, who is kind of hanging around here, they're going to get the turnaround, taking down Lina. Give and take game happening here on the bottom lane. Sonico may have been dropped, but it rewards them with a core Lina takedown.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Apparently Invoker's Shadow's hero because he's having a good game, 2 games in a row. Well, now he actually TPs in straight into the duel. Doesn't realize they'll have a sentry ward for him, and that's maybe a bit too cocky. TPing into 3 heroes and thinking Ghost Walk's enough to keep you up. I mean, you can actually have just clicked on the Oracle and see, and the sentries are not even being hidden.
I mean, that or you straight up caster cursed him, so can't praise a guy like that.
It's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, but they are going to get the tier 1 tower. Very fast takedown for them. You can't not underestimate the sieging capability of this Fantastic Five team. They're going to be quickly throwing together one of those teams like you lead in, get a strong grab on your dual target. There'll be hopefully by then lots of bonus damage built up for this LC. Then one burst, and then suddenly with an advantage in numbers, they ascend their push, and this lone druid could quickly just swallow up your base before you have even a chance to respond here. Bottom lane, Yol. Ooh, thinking about making a go for Fiend's Grip, but already a remnant out from Ditya.
Oddstyle got a taste of gold last game, and now he's like, he actually has a Midas. That's, I don't think I've ever seen him buy Midas in this hero. That's... So Nico gets caught, and that's a dude.
They had the dust ready, and a Fiend's Grip which still connects after the Burrow Strike, unfortunately for Sonico, and that is going to get more dual damage there to LC, and yeah,
very close to blade mail now.
Yeah, so now he's got the damage on top of it, a little bit of extra int to work with, and of course the precious armor this game. But yeah, you gonna go back to Oddstyle because this is like Oddstyle will probably not be the lowest net worth this game thanks to this Midas. And as you said, got the taste for having some of the riches, didn't he? I believe someone said he finished top of the net worth in the previous game on his Chen.
Yeah, right at the end. Right at the end he was top, but I think it was partially because the Invoker dropped all his items and destroyed them. I think the Invoker was a bit ahead of him.
But look at this, his early grab after going for Midas, which you think in some cases would be like, oh, you know, get nags right away. Goes for chainmail, so is he trying to just get the mech for his team? Since no one else is going to be going for it, I guess. Medallion,
it's actually a medallion by the looks of things, yeah.
Oh.
So wanting a little more power to kill Rush because they don't really have... Most of the heroes are quite terrible at killing Rush. So I guess it's actually quite necessary. And you're a dire side, you want to capitalize whenever you have the space. Take the Rush down. Even though Medallion's not as effective against Rush anymore.
Sonico goes in deep for a ward here. Oh, sleep.
Get the duel.
Oh, but that's okay.
The sleep toggle.
Yeah, I guess that works. Whatever. It's a bit sloppy, but regardless, they will be able to punish Sonico. It's just one of those things that you got to make those kind of risky jumps in hopes that you gotta get the intel and make it out with your life. But sometimes you end up jumping into their team into the dark. Sonico will kind of pay for that one, and they're already out for their next target. This one to be on the Oracle here. He's got his ulti and no TP. It's on cooldown. This Oracle is dead to rights for sure. There's charge. He'll make him work for it. Go ahead and ulti yourself. Nope, no you can't. You got working it up now. You did. All right.
Well, Ditchera did try to TP in. The Oracle at least killed the creep before dying. And that does mean Ditchera is now going to go farm the bot lane instead, which is substantially more dangerous. And if Legion Commander is heading there, which is what it looks like to me, if Legion catches Ember, that's a kill. Definitely, it's a solo kill. And I just noticed Lone Druid actually did go back for the Radiance after the Maelstrom, so a bit of both. But let's see if Ditchera senses this, if he reacts quickly enough.
He starts going to work quickly on this jungle camp. If he moves on forward, which he is, he risks being caught, but will utilize that new map staircase and head his way right out. And it looks like the opportunity for Fantastic 5 to get the pick there will be avoided, and Sadoy with this Radiance goes right back into pushing work for his mighty bear. And how are you feeling now that we're seeing a smoke come out for the Fantastic 5? They feel it's necessary to kind of push the tempo of this game. Do you feel that that sees fit? Well, they feel like it's Roche time. And
yeah,
they're going to bet from an Aegis.
It's a little bit risky if Na'Vi actually know and contest. They could fight quite well. Na'Vi not very good at killing Roche, but... Oh, there's the duel.
They got the ward, they got the sight, they get a blink in, and they get almost the one-on-one takedown, but it's not quite enough. He's not going to get the duel off in time, and AA Blast comes in. He's going to have to get saved from the Oracle just to be safe. Will there be enough heal? There will be.
Radiant's top tower is
That's
under attack.
just a straight up mistake from Ghostic. I think he got trigger happy, like saw the Ember Spirits. He hadn't used his press the attack. It's definitely one duel. He just blinked and blade mailed and dueled.
Ooh, sleight of fist is a swing and a miss there from Ditya. They're going to step out from the Roche, so Nico goes in. Huge sandstorm, but avoided from the Fate's Edict that did come out from Oracle. Nicely done. They are going to be finishing off the Sonico. Their Deafening Blast. A bit of a swing and a miss there from Shadow. This is not the time now for Na'Vi. They lose 2. And Fantastic 5 go right back into the Roche pit. They're looking to finish this
Duel's
one
up
off.
again.
Oh, Art Style is going to get off an Ice Blast, but he will get dueled up and taken down. More damage here for Ghostic, and now an Age is going to be picked up there for BZZ, but it's used right away. Oh, a slash and run comes out from Ditya, and the Aegis will be taken down.
Yeah, it's certainly something. And it's also interesting if you look at the build on BZZ, who's going straight into the BKP. Already adjusted his build a bit with the early drum before the Yules, and now not necessarily going straight to the Ags, the Bloodstone, or anything like that. Just building to interact with what Na'Vi's got and respecting the Invoker's Orchid mostly, I would say.
Yeah.
But right before that fight started, we saw what I've been talking about the whole time. Legion catches Ember. Ember got within 1 hit from dead without Legion even using the press the attack buff before the duel. So if Legion's doing the full combo, it's always going to be a kill.
Yeah.
And I think that's something Ember Spirit needs to keep in mind almost permanently. And this Legion Commander might even go for a Shadow Blade next, and that makes it that much easier if he does. If she does.
Came so close to being right for that Spirit Breaker. Now it's Yol in the mid lane. Well, they're going to get spotted out, and an opportunity will be gone for both sides. Na'Vi will look to step back and regroup. And oh, are we having another smoke play here? Oh, it just feels like it, but it's not the case. And yep, that Shadow Blade now going to be down on the LC. Invoker picks up an Agnum Scepter now for himself. So he's looking to really have a serious party here. As we want to scale into the late game here, Scan, I want to ask you, I mean, is this still like a Ditya Ember kind of a game where he can throw the team up on his back? I mean, Invoker is meeting his quota on what he wants to do, but is the LC continuing to build up bonus damage and this Lone Druid now farming up Radiance a threat for them in the late game?
Yeah, I mean, there's never going to be a time in this game where Legion can't solo kill Ember if she catches him in a duel. Unless he's got like a Lincoln's, but yeah, I mean, then it's about not catching. If Ember gets caught in a duel, it's always going to die. It doesn't matter what items it has. Outside of that, though, yeah, Ember Spirit could dominate this game, absolutely. If he avoids the duels and he gets enough items, I do think he can dominate the game. There's also the Fiend's Grip, there's also the Laguna Blade. Those are maybe a bit more difficult to actually get off because you can cancel the Fiend's Grip and the Lina needs to expose herself, which the Legion doesn't mind.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So it's not going to be that easy for the Jira. But I mean, Ember Spirit's just a hero that if you get 6 slotted, you can probably win any game. Like, there's always that chance.
Charge out from Spirit Breaker, gets the bump onto the LC. Follow up from Sonico, a 2-man burrow. Oracle, take it out of the equation. Sonico will lose his own life. LC's going to be able to make it back and away. The Bane will be the second target here. Oracle buyback to return to this one. BZZ commits the Laguna, misses the LSA. Then has to turn and run, right click. Yule's going to dodge that one, but as she comes down, should be taken apart right here. Looks like we'll get dropped there from Shadow. Ditya now rooted up Shadow. The jump return from LC is going to reward her with the kill. Shadow's going to be able to ghost walk away. Goes under the sentry ward there, retreats south. They don't have the vision. And he will be able to run away.
Got the Radiance and the Spirit Bear if you were to guess correctly for long enough, but yeah. Not wanting to play guessing games. And that's why we saw a fight that started really well for Na'Vi, but because the Legion didn't die initially, he was able to like go back and then come back in and still catch the Ember Spirit.
Re-engagement from Na'Vi. They charge in. They are going to get the Oracle buff here on Sadoy, who will get quickly healed up. So Nico charging in. The heal is good. Miss of the tornado, but Shadow gets a brilliant two-man deafening blast. They're going to quickly pick apart the Oracle. It's a dieback for him then in the end. LC will get dropped. Sadoy will be the next target. This is turning right around beautifully for Na'Vi. A double kill for Shadow in the end. They take out 4.
That was never a fight for Fantastic 5 to be having, and I think that they're maybe just a bit surprised that Shadow came back into the fight, because remember, that's the same Shadow who ran out of the fight like 20 seconds before on like 150 HP. So that's probably why they're fighting. They don't have dual up, but they're thinking, we use buybacks, let's justify it. Ember Spirit's dead, Invoker's probably gone to base. And then Invoker surprises them by wrapping back around, using the full combo of spells with the Ags, allowing for the Orchid and like 3 or 4 different spells. Definitely making the difference. So I mean, hopefully this isn't another Caster's Curse number 2, but I want to compliment Shadow's play there. I think he's been a very good Invoker in this series so far, and he's definitely the one who wins them that fight.
We'll see if he can keep it up right now, as Na'Vi are heavy in favor. Their biggest lead of the game so far, sporting near a 6 to 7k net worth advantage. XP about the same. Shadow goes right back to work, pushing out and pressuring out these lanes as much as possible, giving Na'Vi their biggest economy blanket to kind of farm up across this map. While Fantastic 5, a team that continue to want to make some pickoff plays here. LC just Shadow Blaze right up for the farm. So Nico again invading deep, gets down a very nice aggressive ward here for Na'Vi.
Here comes Aximo. He's got a gem actually. It would be a really big kill, but Nico there as well.
Charge is out, but it's on the wave, but they got the burrow. Ghosts are going to go down as they commit even the Epi for it. BZZ responds with the Laguna, taking out Sonico here, but the grab on LC nonetheless. A prized one for Na'Vi.
Yeah, 1 for 1. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But this is the danger of playing LC. Like, he sees Sand King, and he's like, okay, fine, go. But Sand King sandstorms. And it's the same thing can happen when you go for Ember Spirit. Like, as you go and he happens to slide or happens to jump away, or then all of a sudden the team responds and you're in no man's land because you've dived in. You've probably used the Shadow Blade to scout, use the Blink to initiate. So the timings can be an issue. And at the bot lane, Shadow's scouting actually Sadoy. Sadoy runs away seeing the Ghost Walk on his status, and no one actually going to initiate anything there.
Sadoy will probably have the Savage Roar ready to utilize in a sense, and Ice Blast will be committed for it as well. But Fantastic 5 will send their presence to the bottom lane here and shuffle on in. We check back with Ditya, who has his tool belt put together now. A Battle Fury and Daedalus fully incomplete near 1,700 gold. So the Na'Vi wave clear is becoming that much better. I mean, even a game where they could feel like they could lose all their tier 2s and still be stuck up in their base, it's still a solid game for them. So in the end, I mean,
yeah,
it's still like it's anybody's game.
Yeah, I'm just impressed that Artstyle continues to accrue gold. I mean, it's actually so good for Artstyle to get a Midas, because he's going to buy all the wards anyway. But if he's got the Midas, he can like buy wards and gradually get his own items. Whereas usually he just buys all the wards. Nico doesn't really help him that much, and that's why he gets nothing. So I think if the game does go very late, it'll be something different to what we usually see in Na'Vi games, because they're going to have 5 heroes being relevant. And usually for Na'Vi, when the game goes very late, Artstyle's like a complete non-factor.
Fantastic 5 pulling out one of their smoke plays here. Found them a lot of good fortune in game number 1. Back at it again here for 33 minutes into game number 3. We'll see if they can get an approach on the Na'Vi, who are very defended right now. And in fact, smoking themselves, they head up to their own woods here. I don't know know what kind of wraparound play they're looking to make here. If they can sweep all the way back around towards the Roche pit, which we'll see its secondary timer here in just a moment. They might be able to get an opportunity, but it looks like Fantastic Five are not going to catch anything out. Navi are heading out the other side, and our timer is going to be a medium-sized one, I guess you could say here, for both sides.
Yeah, and I do think Ditcher has done well to since the Legion was able to solo kill him. I think he's only died once to Legion Commander. There was the other time at the Rush Pit that the Legion was maybe just a bit trigger happy and should have killed, but the scaling of the Ember Spirits is continuing, and that's very, very important to Navi's late game hopes.
Navi, who had the back end of that smoke, still kind of pursed themselves in this mid lane, waiting for maybe anyone from Fantastic Five to make the return that way, but they're still keeping this kind of buddy-buddy system alive and prancing around the bottom lane instead. And as they round back, we'll see Navi looking to make a siege here. They wipe out the wave, poke at this tier 2 a bit, and just kind of want to draw out Fantastic Five from wherever they are. And it looks like Axmo's locked in. He pops his BKB. He's committing it for this Oracle, but there's a Fiend's Grip waiting from Yol. Oracle will make it away. So Nico with the follow-up, though. Epicenter Burrow Strike. Yol kept alive, though. Now, all the meanwhile, they are going to get the takedown. Invoker isolates and takes apart the Legion Commander. That's a forefront of a lot of the damage here from the Radiant side. So with him and Sadoy pretty much out of the equation, BZZ can fight off what he can, but after Oracle goes down, he is soon to follow. And this is now looking to be Navi's game to lose. They get a huge fight. They could step back, push out this bottom lane, and eventually find their way back near the Roche Pit soon for an Aegis if they like.
Yeah, I think that's a Fantastic Five, but maybe a bit too tunnel visioned. They didn't recognize that there was a ward here on this cliff. So the Legion just kind of charged forward to blink forward to around the tower area over here to initiate an Ancient Apparition, while his teammates were kind of getting taken down. And I don't think it's worth it for Legion Commander does kill A, but A is already ultied, and then Invoker kills Legion, and the Bane's busy dying on the other side, and that means Ditchera is kind of like free to just go ham. Because if you're an Ember Spirits, the things you're worried about are Lina, Bane, Legion. Bane and Legion are dealt with, and Lina's not enough on her own if your team's with you. And I think that's why it goes so well for Navi in the end. That the Legion kind of wastes the duel, I would say, on Oddstyle. And it means that the Ember Spirit can go unchecked, and now it's Navi's turn to actually take Rush.
Looks like there'll be no trouble at all from Radiant's side as expected, and now Navi sport an extra advantage for themselves to see if they can close out game number 3 with a win and be one step away from taking the whole prize here for BTS Europe. But Fantastic Five, we looked at them, and first thing I gotta ask is, do they have any smokes available? That seemed to be the fallback play for them. None to buy, none on hand, none on the courier. We'll have to see what the plan C is going to be for them at this point, because this is Oracle, or sorry, not Oracle, this is Invoker now, having a blast. He is fast as hell here in a Ghost Walk, and he is just seeing if he can get any sort of pickoffs. Luckily, Yol able to creep back into base before the shark in the water scouts him out. He'll see Sadoy here, but obviously without proper setup, not going to be looking to engage. This is just kind of herding sheep inside the fence here, Scant. And unfortunately, the Fantastic Five are going to have failure farm.
Yeah, it's there's a gank on the Spirit Bear, so Navi might get... Oh, it's the Raw, and Spirit Bear is probably going to be able to blink away. Yeah. I think Navi are actually even further ahead than the net worth shows here. Something I like to talk about is like the effective net worth, like how much it's worth, and Lone Druid is the richest on Fantastic Five, but what's that gold really doing? Like, how does Lone Druid want to fight? I would argue that Lone Druid wants to be part of like a push, a 5v5, not really a split up fight. And that's what Navi's heroes are actually good at. Sand King is very mobile, so is Spirit Breaker, so is Ember Spirit, so is Invoker. So what is Lone Druid like? You know, the bear, both the summon and the hero just don't get that consistent space to hit things in fights. They need the Fiend's Grip, the duel to lock things down in order to do that. And I think Navi actually just have too many tools at their disposal to stop that. So on top of the net worth lead that Navi have, they've also got the fact that the Lone Druid's not able to effectively utilize the gold that he has.
And we're just going to see Navi continue to get that much richer here, and they're even looking to itemize appropriately. I mean, Actmo, I'm assuming going for a Lincoln Sphere here in hopes of helping out the Ember Spirit or himself from avoiding maybe any dual damage or away from stopping him charging in. Nonetheless, defensive precaution here for Na'Vi to make their job that much easier for themselves. Or it causes just the extra trigger coming out from even the Lina and Laguna, possibly. So, I love the grab. He's very rich.
Exactly what I was just talking about, right? So Lone Druid can only be effective if the Legion or the Bane are locking someone down. And so Ember Spirit buys Lincolns, and Spirit Breaker buys Lincolns, and Sand King buys Lincolns. And all of a sudden, those lockdown heroes can't lock anyone down. And it's kind of like the final piece of the puzzle, that there's no way for Fantastic Five to effectively fight because they already haven't had an issue of fighting unless they lock people down, and now they can't lock them down.
Now we have 2 minutes left here for the Aegis, which clearly has been more utilized to just kind of allow Na'Vi to kind of be the big bully of the map right now and play the economy game, which they're obviously winning. Once they kind of get the last Lincolns online here, Invoker's sporting 3.5k. Hell, even AA is finished off his Ags right now, which is one of the better Ags you can ask for in the game. I mean,
it's probably the richest art styles ever been on this hero. I've watched him play AA many times, and it's normally boots AA. That's normally what it is.
Well, good for him in this game. He'll get the luxury of just kind of pulling off that big three-pointer and having it do devastating work. I mean, it lasts so long between the start and the finish. You're looking at 3-4 sleight of fists, and possibly able to clean up a lot of names here. Here comes Na'Vi, though, bottom tier 2. An easy drop by them. Sounds like Sunstrike to kind of help scout out the map a bit more, but the pressure's coming from Na'Vi in the bottom lane, and we got to see what the Fantastic Five are going to do to defend.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
How do they deal with all the Lincolns? That's what I want to know. Like, what spells they're going to use to try and trigger them? Lina just going to waste some Yules, or is the Oracle spamming Purifying Flames?
I mean, it's a very low cooldown. That might be their best chance. He's stepping in right now. And, well, double Lincolns means duel is going to be taken away. Now has to be saved from the Oracle. A commitment in from Axmo in the back of his BKB. Sudoi is going to be slept up. Good defensive save right now from Yol. With the Glimmer Cape, allows him to make it back and away, but Ditya now with these huge, heavy-hitting slide of fists are going to start cleaning house. They are going to get that bear down, and suddenly it's looking like Navi's game to end out. They walk away. They did lose Ditya Ra in the end of it, costing a buyback. We'll see. Fantastic Five if they can hold out in this one. They charge back in, so Nico not going to be able to get the stretch on his Epi. Does connect with the Burrow onto BZZ, but Lina's going to be able to adjust and make it back into the fountain. All the meanwhile, though, Artstyle helps clean up the last racks. This bottom lane going to be the first significant base damage here onto the Fantastic Five. Na'Vi could just turn away and walk with big winnings here, but they want to continue to dance around with Fantastic Five. Maybe if they morally break them, they can get an early FF, but not happening.
I mean, the Lone Druid is like 100 gold short of buyback, and Na'Vi just don't know that. And if they did know that, then Ditchera buys back, TP's in, the game's over. Because the Lina just bought back, they'll easily be able to kill her again. The Lone Druid couldn't buy back, but it's just one of those things. There's no reason for them to expect that the Lone Druid can't buy back. And the fact that he's that close means that actually it's pretty fair to judge that he did have it. So turns out, I mean, from a third-person perspective, from my perspective, it's like this game could have just ended, but that doesn't mean no one's actually made any mistakes. Na'Vi, I think, appropriately playing it safe based on what they do now.
Yeah, you know, grand finals as well. You're at a 1-1 kind of a series. It's better to play safe than sorry, I suppose. So a composed Na'Vi squad. We'll pull back out and just kind of have the huge range advantage for now. Step off and look to set up and take down. I mean, playing it very passively if necessary and waiting out for the next Aegis, I suppose. If that's what they want to do. And we can't help it.
And it has been, like, this has been the factor that's shown the CIS scene really develop, I think, in the last year. From the CIS scene has been plagued for many years. Like, teams do well online, but not at LANs, or they do well for a few months, but not for that long. And teams like Vega and Virtus.pro have started doing better and better this year. And I think a lot of it's to do with, like, a bit more control being exercised in terms of, like, when you need to be disciplined, when you need to pull back, when you need to hold down the aggression, not just buy back instantly. So I always think it's a positive sign when I see a CIS team pulling out. Yeah, like, even if it's not the right call there, it's just like, you know, Na'Vi are showing they can exercise restraint.
There is some brawn with all that brute force. We'll see here. Well, they pull off, clear out the way for now. Na'Vi inch by inch look to clean up the crops and try to close this one out. But Fantastic Five, you know, they got great wave clear between, you know, this LC and this lone druid. They can kind of keep everything back and on the way out. But outside of more smoke plays coming out and hoping for the big flank hurrah, I don't see too many outs here for Fantastic Five. Is it a matter of them waiting and maybe they could put up a solid Roche defense and get the Aegis for themselves? Or is it just more of what we're about to see probably before us? It's hope to make a gank. But now they're on the back end of getting caught out by Suniko, who pings them. And it looks like this opportunity will be gone.
Doesn't even matter. I mean, the Invoker's slightly short of buyback right now, so that's the one hero. If they'd killed the Invoker, maybe they get some space. But honestly, it's a bit hopeful to actually say anything for Fantastic 5 years. Oracle does get caught and will be burst down. Like, I just feel like their draft doesn't want to be playing from this far behind. Like, the Lone Druid never, as a hero, never wants to be playing from this far behind. The Legion Commander doesn't really want to be playing from behind, especially if the enemy team's capable of grouping up instead of splitting. I think that's Fantastic Five on their very last legs here.
Well, we'll see what they can do because Na'Vi are on the verge of closing out another set of racks. While this Oracle is out for another 20 seconds, they can always fall back for the Roche after. The defensive bubbles are out here, and we'll see. Are Na'Vi going to wait for the wave? No, it looks like they'll just take this opportunity to go right back. Secure that Aegis and then make their next go, and Fantastic Five will get to await their final hurrah for what looks like another possible 5 to 10 minutes.
The Butterfly coming up on Datura, that's pretty interesting. I mean, maybe he buys it just for the activatable, or for the flatter in large part, because I mean, move speed is really nice and Ember affects how fast your spirits travel and how fast you go in and out of fights. In terms of the evasion, like, yeah, sure, Lone Druid doesn't have MKB, Legion doesn't have MKB, Lena doesn't have MKB, and none of them are likely to buy it. But at the same time, I want to say that Ditchera is only ever going to die if he gets locked down anyway. So I don't feel like he needed to buy Butterfly for the evasion. It's the attack speed and it's the flatter. I guess to some extent the attack speed makes you better at sieging buildings. This is a problem that Na'Vi had all of yesterday, that Ember Spirit, as much damage output as you have, you don't crit buildings, you don't cleave buildings.
Yeah.
And if he gets some time up close to the buildings, maybe he can like DPS them a bit better with the Butterfly.
Yeah, it's a bit peculiar. I mean, I guess when you're already committed a defensive item to going for the Lincoln Sphere, which I don't fault him on that much for this particular game, but other games would be like, you know, maybe even getting a Blink Dagger just to be that much more elusive, being able to safely kind of step in, get a few softening Sleight of Fists off before you actually committed for a high ground
So
play.
interesting. Smoke. Na'Vi smoke right outside the base and then just walk straight up the ramp. Decide actually none of that.
Needed a fair puff, I suppose, before they try to close the game out. They move in, get to tier 3. Rax is now fully open here. And Ditya will already go to work, getting off a big Sleight of Fist. The follow-up stun will not be there to connect. Now they see the bear, and they're going to be taking the bear down. He will have a secondary bear follow-up, but Oracle will not be in this party and help with this fight. Akmo just kind of moves on in, looks to get a hold of Lady Lena here. BKB's coming out from the Golden Army as they have to readjust. Artstyle is going to get rooted up and soon to go down. Suniko commitment in. Big Epi as they focus down Sidoi. He's out 80 seconds, and now they all begin to crumble apart. It looks like Na'Vi are going to be claiming game number 3 and will pull ahead in this best of 5. Now 2-1.
Yeah, and all of this without Dandy. Just to remind everyone who might have tuned in right now, he hasn't been playing in this series, and Na'Vi still take the advantage, 2-1 up, and match point for them.
Good stuff from Na'Vi.